The foundational mandate of the Christian faith, as laid out in the book of Mark, is simple to state: love God and love your neighbor. If we look at this gauge, we can see the weight of the demand. It requires a person to love God with their heart, soul, mind, and strength. It requires a 100% absolute devotion with zero margin for error. But human capacity doesn't function at that absolute threshold. We naturally prioritize self-preservation. When convenience, physical exhaustion, or basic self-interest enter the equation, our total devotion fractures and drops. If divine favor or salvation relies on maintaining a flawless output of devotion, humanity is structurally disqualified from the start. We do not have the internal capacity to meet the requirement. Our internal operating system is wired to prioritize ourselves. We feed ourselves, we house ourselves, and protect our own interests first. Because of this wiring, the love we generate for others functions as a transactional exchange. We offer affection when someone makes us feel good, says something kind, or meets our needs. When they stop delivering, our affection stops with them. That fragile, feeling-based response is incompatible with the first commandment. The command demands an unchanging, absolute dedication, regardless of how we are treated or what we receive in return. This creates a mechanical paradox. We are mandated to produce a constant, sacrificial energy that our internal engines were never built to generate. The text of 1 John chapter 4 reorders the sequence of how we love. It states that love originates from God, and that His action precedes human capability. He loved us before we ever attempted to love Him. The original Greek word used here is agape. This is a specific, covenantal, and sacrificial action that operates independent of human emotion. It means choosing to sacrifice for someone even if they offer absolutely nothing in return. This diagram illustrates the shift of the Christian faith. Instead of forcing a depleted central node to generate energy it doesn't have, the system bypasses the broken human engine. The node is flooded by a massive, external, and unilateral supply. Believers do not output this agape to generate God's approval. They distribute it as a byproduct of already possessing it. The pressure to manufacture love from scratch is removed. The historical demonstration of this external supply is Jesus of Nazareth. Rather than clinging to divine privilege, He surrendered it, relinquishing His own defenses and exposing Himself to execution on a cross. The biblical term for this event is propitiation. It is a complete sacrificial payment. Jesus absorbed the penalty for humanity's inability to hit the absolute 100% standard. In this schematic, the cross functions as an immovable outer boundary layer. It envelops the failing, volatile reality of human imperfection, shielding it from divine wrath and creating a permanent, secure zone. Attempting to hit a perfect standard using your own engine causes constant, exhausting psychological erraticism. But underneath this protective boundary, that volatile movement stops, finding rest within a guaranteed covering. Radical obedience to God is the result of absolute surrender to the finished payment of Jesus. With that external supply secured, the latter half of the 10 Commandments shifts from a restrictive behavioral checklist into a practical blueprint for distributing agape. It starts in the home. The command to honor your father and mother applies even to parents who are deeply imperfect or broken. It requires injecting sacrificial love and forgiveness into relationships that may not have earned it. The standard expands inward. Jesus defined murder as the harboring of unresolved anger toward a fellow believer. Agape requires immediate, sacrificial reconciliation. Sexual purity is reframed. It is a severe, covenantal sacrifice of physical actions, thoughts, and desires to honor a current or future spouse, a departure from archaic rule-following. Stealing physical property, bearing false witness through gossip, and coveting what someone else owns are all linked. They are practical thefts of a neighbor's dignity, value, and position. Failing to execute these practical commands exposes a disconnection from the sacrificial covering of Jesus. It is a failure of the source, not a lack of discipline. The target radius for this overflowing agape is unrestrictive. The biblical neighbor is every single human being you encounter, regardless of their status, background, or affinity toward you. This means agape is designed to cross aggressive socioeconomic, racial, and ideological lines. It demands a sacrifice of self precisely where division is most entrenched. Right now, there is a massive discrepancy between the hostile reputation of modern religion and the actual calling of a transformed disciple. We are known for our outrage, but commanded to be known for our love. The operational function of the local church is to correct that discrepancy. It is a living, breathing laboratory where believers publicly model radical forgiveness and sacrificial care for one another. A cynical, unbelieving world is rarely persuaded by theological arguments. They will comprehend the invisible reality of God's love when they are forced to confront the tangible, undeniable sacrifice of His people.